I imagine that the easier question, and not even a rhetorical one, would be why not Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do? Today we'll take a quick look at the reasoning behind people's attraction to and perhaps even obsession with Bruce Lee and his art and philosophy of Jeet Kune Do. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 135. This is the one about why Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from and hit the like button, and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. And if you're catching the final edit video over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and check out what we offer. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. All right, let me take a quick look and see who's here. Hey, Pedro Rodriguez, Russell, Mark David Collins, and Audi, the regulars. All right, thanks for showing up, guys. Any moment now, Terry Valor will probably show up. All right, okay. So where to start with a topic like this? Because if we're going to talk about the reasons why Bruce Lee had and continues to have such a profound effect on so many people from all over the world and for so long a time, obviously we could be here for a couple of days, right? This longevity has turned JKD into a generational concern. And so today, we sometimes must consider the thoughts and opinions of people who can be much more than 12 degrees of separation from Bruce Lee, right? Okay, but we have to take them on if we're going to be courteous and magnanimous, right? So it'd definitely be outside the scope of a 10-minute JKD broadcast to look at every instance of, let's call it Bruce Lee attraction. And so that's where, so why don't we just do this? We'll take a general overview of why people get started in martial art and how an interest in JKD can actually indicate a difference in approach, right? So remember that for most people in the old days, if you became interested in martial art, depending on where you were, there may not have been a huge variety of choices. And so you pretty much signed up at the most convenient place and you got started. And when you're there, you accept whatever it is that the instructor says in terms of how to train, and you pretty much follow the program. You might also watch and learn from your seniors, right? And you may even have tried to emulate like what you the seniors that you found most impressive, right? Then you try to copy them in some ways. Now, if you saw Bruce Lee at the 1964 Long Beach Internationals and you were impressed by him, then you may have started looking around for instruction in his method, but you would have had success only if you lived in Seattle or Oakland, right? Or if there was a Chinatown in your area, you might have had some luck with a search for Chinese styles, let's call it. Now, 2 years later, 66, 67, right? If you're exposed to Bruce Lee as Kato in the Green Hornet, and then to Black Belt magazine when they produce this, right? So if this now is your exposure, you still may not have been able to find an actual Bruce Lee type class, again, unless you were in Seattle or Oakland, and then Chinese methods only if there was a Chinatown in your vicinity. Now, if you're really intrepid, then what might happen is that you were able to get your hands on a copy of Chinese Kung Fu, the philosophical art of self-defense, because that had been published by this time, right? So now, if you had those, right? If you had that book, for example, you're now able to train somewhat like Bruce Lee by copying his Kato techniques, right, from the Green Hornet, or maybe whatever it is that you found in this book, right? And then if you found something in a magazine article. In late 72, the Kung Fu series starts, right? And almost immediately, I tried to find the picture, but I couldn't, because I have somewhere a picture of a sign outside a martial arts school. And up until the TV series, the sign said karate. And then you could see they took a little smaller sign and they stuck it onto the bottom of the karate sign, and it said Kung Fu, right? So that happened late 72. But what you may have seen, let me see if I can, I have something to show you guys here. Do I? Yes. All right, so take a look at this. So who's on here? I don't think any, Audie Barger probably would be somebody who's familiar with stuff like this. So this is the kind of stuff that you saw in the magazines in the 1970s when David Carradine started becoming famous and what have you, right? So there was that kind of stuff going on. All right, so then what happens? Unfortunately, July 20th, 1973 hits. And that changes, that unfortunate event changes everything. Because now the cult of Bruce Lee starts to form. By this time, you can find people who had trained with him personally. And again, if you're lucky enough to have been in their town, you can train with them. Just like I just told you about the non-Chinese Kung Fu practitioners who added the sign, there were people who actually now started adding Jeet Kune Do without knowing anything at all about it. They started adding Jeet Kune Do to the offerings at their martial arts schools, right? In 1974, Dan Inosanto opens up the Kali Academy. And in case you don't know, the full name was the Chinese Boxing and Filipino Kali Academy, right? And in 1978, I think it was, he, along with Richard Bustillo and then assistants like Chris Kent, they teach what I believe Aspen Academy in 1978 was like the first public camp, right, at which a Bruce Lee student is on staff. So what happens over the years? The seminar method of teaching and learning develops, and the thirst and the hunger for knowledge about Bruce Lee's art and philosophy, that now begins to be quenched and sated. And of course, it had its normal problems, because there's always problems when the humans get involved, right? So there was differences of opinion about just what is Jeet Kune Do and just how this Jeet Kune Do should be taught. But everybody in the martial art world benefits from this, let's call it celebrity treatment of Bruce Lee. So the martial arts industry starts to grow. The martial arts movie industry starts to grow. The martial arts seminar industry starts to grow. And then 1984, I didn't bring up a graphic for it, but 1984 brings us what? The Karate Kid. And as far as I understand, this ushers in the era of martial arts as an after-school activity for kids. And so it serves to bring martial arts even more into the mainstream. Now, to put all of this into its simplest terms, we have people who are attracted to martial arts learning, and they are simply willing to sign up at the most convenient place. Then we have people who are inspired by Bruce Lee to begin martial arts training, but they couldn't find his art, and so they were forced to sign up at the most convenient place. But as the JKD industry now is born and starts to develop, we have people who are inspired by Bruce Lee or JKD itself, right? And they make the sometimes literal pilgrimage to avail themselves of the knowledge. And so for some of those people, it's the actual start of their martial arts journey. For others, they're just a little bit curious, and they might intend to learn some tricks of Jeet Kune Do and then use that as an add-on to what it is that they're already doing. And then there are those who have been devoted to the practice of Bruce Lee's art, but they never before had access to live training. I think it's safe to say that in all the above cases, one of the driving forces behind their pursuit of Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do is the search for that elusive something that he brought to the world. They knew that Bruce Lee was a different kind of cat, right? And they were attracted to that difference, even if they couldn't identify what it was, right? Now, I'm not saying that somebody who's attracted to the classical arts isn't searching, but I don't think that they are necessarily searching for a martial art method, which requires that you invest in personal analysis as part of your overall growth and development within the art, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, to surmise here, like Chris Kent says, it's not always so much about answering the questions as it is about questioning the answers. And so I will leave you with this. When is the last time that you took personal JKD inventory, right? That's the term, right? Is when you took, when's the last time you took personal inventory as to why you got started in JKD training and whether or not you're still following that initial impulse, right? Okay, so that is it. Feel free to share, like, and comment, ask questions if you want. Let me take a quick look at what went on over here, because I turned the comments off while I'm talking so that you wonderful guys don't distract me, right? Oh, Bob, not again, right? Okay. And if the Chinese would teach you. Paul Johnson, right? Kevin Porter says the leave the real world behind sign got me. Yeah, that I've talked about that previously, Mr. Porter. And actually, full disclosure, I stole that idea from the Krause brothers in Scotland, right? Who are JKD colleagues of mine. Bob's trying to create trouble as usual, right? Hey, Carlos, right? Okay, who did James Z? Oh, Bob, geez, it's there. Time and place, man, time and place. Anyhow, still love you, right? Okay, so sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook and over on the YouTube. Please subscribe to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast and to the Jeet Kune Do dialogues, and make sure to hit the notification bell when you're over there. On Twitter, I am at Dwight Woods. On Instagram at Dwight D Woods. ilovejeetkundo.com, Quick Skill Series Volume 1 available. Volume 2 will be produced by the end of 2020. As you know, there's all kinds of problems with 2020. Right, coming up on Friday, July 10th, Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode with Kurt Cornwell of MKG Detroit. We have not had anybody from the MKG world on in a while, and I plan to rectify that in short order. So that's this Friday, July 10th, and should be at the regular 6 p.m. Eastern time. Today's a pastel day. There you go, right? And so I'll see some of you on Friday at 6 with Kurt Cornwell. Rest of you, I'll see next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now. I heard this from. Learn to see the connecting thread between the things that you're doing. Because if there is no connecting thread, right? So if you love, you know, this art and this art, but you can't seem to get them together, well, you're missing a connecting thread. So they don't really belong together, right? So when people talk about, oh yeah, our style is like Jeet Kune Do because we combine this or we mix this with this and whatever, right? No. Because if there is no connecting thread, then it is. And well, it's a bigger answer than that. Anyhow, so that's where the 4 count is. We just insert here. So now, when you learn this, if you understand, you just learn this. Open 4 just taught you how to do close 6. What could be cooler than that? you just cut your learning by probably more than half. And by the way, this is the first time I ever thought of it in almost 30 years. Yes.
Original
I
thought.
just realized that. Right? I just realized that. Which for me is the pleasure, right, in being the instructor. Because there's still stuff to discover, or uncover, I should say. So when Dan Insano said that to me years ago, right, I didn't get it. Now in my 28th year as his student, I'm like, oh, the old man was right.
So when you ask me why do I get up for evaluations, whatever, that's
Yeah.
kind of why I do it.
Yeah.
To remind me it's a metaphor, like you're always
Always something to
pulling
uncover.
something up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so what else? So now footwork, right? Okay, so let's do this. So now he still hits, and I go here. So I use what?
Lateral triangle.
Lateral triangle, see? To get me to this point. And Momoy would be done from here. See? This foot goes all the way to here. All right? 1, 2, 3. I use lateral triangle and we end up in what position?
Is that like a Kenjit?
No.
The Sapuluar.
Zapuluar, right? Yeah, if I change his shape, yeah, it would be like Kenja.
Okay.
Right? So now we use lateral triangle to get us somewhere. We don't have to finish with that. Because really all I want you to get is the position. See? I come back. Right now, you hit the cross. Okay, because we'll make this up. Now, wouldn't make sense for me to go here again, would it? No, not really. Right? No. That doesn't give me anything. See? So now, if you understand this, I move this way.
You're behind him.
Yeah. See? So if we train, so now
Wow.
we'll make it a training drill.
Right, so go
So we'll start like this. We go 1, 2. 1, 2. Sorry. 1, 2. See? 1.
So we're gonna be doing the drill while doing two things.
You get my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes.
So just